When somebody wrongs you, in any offense, when someone wrongs you, there is a debt to pay. And that debt has got to be paid by somebody. Let's say it simply. Let's say your neighbor backs out of his driveway and your car is parked on the curb in the street by yours, and he crashes into it. He backs into it and leaves a big dent in your door. There are only two things that can happen as a result of that. Either you make him pay, that'll be $2,000, please, or you pay. You can say, I forgive you. Well, if you say, I forgive you, what happens to that $2,000 of damage? What happens to it? You have to pay for it, or your car loses even more value. In other words, either you absorb what was done, the cost of what was done, or he pays the cost of what was done. It's simple. There is always a debt in any offense. There is always a debt to pay, and there are only two ways to do it. Either you pay or I pay. But what if somebody really wrongs you? I mean, robs you in a deeper way. They do something to rob your happiness. They do something that robs you of reputation, or they do something that scars you, that wounds you deeply. The person takes away from you something that you'll never get back. There is this deep sense of debt. There's a deep sense that this person owes you. You've been violated, and you can't just shrug it off. What do? There are only two things that you can do. One is you can try to make that person pay. So you can have all kinds of hateful thoughts about them. You can try to harm them by paying them back with really harmful gossip. You can slander them in a way that gets them fired, or they lose friends, or they lose relationship. You can try to make them suffer. Because they made you suffer, you're going to make them suffer. So you could try to make them pay the debt. There's only one problem with doing it that way. While you're making them pay off the debt, while you're harming them for harming you, you are transforming into them. You're becoming just like them. You, in that act, are becoming harder. You're becoming colder. You're becoming crueler. But one thing it will not do is that it will not give you peace. It will not make you happy. Or the other thing you can do is to forgive them. But there's a price. There is always a price to be paid in forgiveness. And when you forgive, then the price moves to you, the forgiver. The forgiver pays the price when he or she forgives. When you refuse to have those vengeful thoughts and intentions that you so much want to have for them, when you refuse the vengeful actions, when you so much want to do them, you're paying a price. It hurts. You're suffering. Why? It is because you are absorbing the cost. Instead of making them suffer, you suffer by absorbing the cost yourself. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness always entails suffering. If you've really truly been wronged and you forgive, the forgiver suffers. The debt doesn't just go away. It doesn't evaporate into thin air. Somebody pays. Either they pay or you pay.